Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today I want to give you guys a pretty lengthy video talking about the Bazaar, how it's been going, future of the Kripp channel, all that kind of stuff. It is going to be Bazaar hitting Steam coming next week in just a few days now, which is a big deal. But you have to buy the game if you are going to play it on Steam. So it's like a big discussion video. Grab a drink and hopefully you will enjoy this one. Now, before we get into the whole details of the Bazaar and Steam thing, I know given the timing of this video, that is the more pressing thing. But all of this kind of comes together, and I did want to make a video on the topic of traveling and stuff also around this time, because in about a week or so we are going to do some traveling again. So it does not line up with the release of Bazaar very well, obviously, but we are not going to cancel a trip that we have been planning for months. We're going to be visiting Brazil, and on the way back we're going to be visiting Colombia. So pretty cool adventures to be had. We do actually upload all our IRL content. It's not at the forefront of our travels. We travel for pleasure, and we try to get some of the cool things that we see along the way. And we post those on Ranya's YouTube channel. Ranya is my wife, business partner. All there is to life, she is doing it with me, including these awesome travels. So if you want to see what we're up to, you guys can check that out. Now, we've been traveling the world for several years now, but one of the things that has changed quite a bit in the last few years is that things don't really release on time anymore. We've never actually canceled a trip to play new content for the main game that we're covering, but we knew when a new Hearthstone patch would happen, 3, 4. In some cases, we'd use the Windows clock to see when the packs would be openable. Sometimes more than 4 months in advance, we would know when a new Hearthstone update would hit. It was the same for PoE. If it was not amply clear, you could just kind of guess, because they were like clockwork, 3 or 4 times a year, PoE expansions. And even Diablo 4 tells you when the season ends, when a new one begins. So you have a lot of advanced knowledge. Now, the games that I play these days, Bazaar was doing a pretty consistent thing, but they delayed the launch of this season by 1 week. And again, I'm going to play the hell out of the Bazaar for a few days, and then I'm going to Brazil, and I don't know how well or if I can stream there at all. The internet might be garbage in my hotel. I don't know. I'll try to stream a few times while there, but it won't be the priority when I'm traveling. And even PoE, we got word a few weeks ago. It's hey guys, PoE 2, it's happening at the end of the month. So yeah, I'll try to play that as well. But again, there are challenges now. It seems like the games that I play these days, they have some difficulty being punctual with their releases, at least recently. So I am trying to make the best of it, but the best of it might be interrupted streams and possibly even YouTube videos if we are away for a long time. So we'll see. So how has the Bazaar been going so far overall? So I've been basically maining Bazaar since, I think, November is when we had the open beta, or closed beta, I guess it was. And I've loved playing Bazaar. Bazaar is absolutely my favorite game to play overall. Sure, there's some, frustrations here and there, but it is a game I am absolutely never bored of. And more than that, it's a game that usually takes my full focus. Even when I was playing Battlegrounds, I'd usually play a mobile game on an emulator on the side, or I just watch Reddit. It's just so much downtime. It's so boring in between games. You kind of have to be doing something when you're playing Hearthstone. Bazaar's not like that. It takes my full attention. I'm constantly engaged with the game. There's very few games where I can actually say that happens. So it's just been a game that I really like. In terms of numbers and stuff, yeah, I think we get less viewership and now doing Bazaar than when we stopped covering Battlegrounds, but let's not pretend Battlegrounds was on the uptick. I also, when I stream and when I make content, the most important thing is that I am doing something that I want to be doing. It just makes everything easier. It makes it work. That's just how things work. I know that people will often think that that's not true, but you know what? People like different games, and sometimes they want to play something, and sometimes they want to play something else. I can give you guys very clear examples, like, over the last, like, I don't know, 6 years or something like that, I haven't missed a single PoE 1 league. I'd play PoE 1 and get a massive viewer drop, but I'd play all day, every day for like a week because I really wanted to. Even when the humble beginnings of the Kripp stream, I played Diablo 3 for a couple months. We got like 5 to 7K average viewers on Twitch, which is colossal at the time. And then I didn't want to play the game anymore. So, we just did like some variety and stuff for like 2K viewers for a while. And, that's just how it is. Playing games has pretty much been one of the great joys of my life, and I am not really going to compromise much on that. So right now, I still like the Bazaar, and honestly, I think from a game standpoint, the Bazaar has gotten consistently better over the months, over the season, over the patches. So I am actually more eager to continue playing the Bazaar than I was when it first started. Again, I'm sure some of you guys might disagree. So now we are at the case where they have announced a Steam launch. And this is a topic that I think I have a little bit more insight than some people, so I will go over everything that I know and give you guys that information. Now, before we get too started with it, I am probably the worst person out there to tell you if it is worth your money to buy the Bazaar on Steam. As I said, gaming has been a really big part of my life. It's always been true that if I want to play a game, I pretty much just pay the asking price of the game to play it. That's not really a factor. If I'm really into it, I give them the money. Okay, that's true now. That's true before I started streaming. That's just always been true. With that in mind, I cannot really tell you if it's worth it to buy the game for $45 if you've never played it before on Steam, but I want to kind of go over generally how it works. Okay, so up until they mentioned the Steam launch, which was like a couple days ago, if you already had a Bazaar account through like the Tempo Storm launcher, you basically are like flagged as getting all the stuff for free. Now, if you didn't have that, you will have to buy the game on Steam if you want to play the Bazaar, is my understanding, and the game on Steam will cost $45. Now, if you get the game on Steam, you will get, obviously, Vanessa, you'll also get Pygmalion and Dooley, and additional heroes will cost $20. So the way it's kind of priced, it's kind of like you buy the game for $5, kinda, and then the other 40 goes towards 2 heroes. Kinda coping a little bit there, but maybe that's kind of how they're reasoning that out. And if you do want to play the upcoming hero Stell on either platform, you will have to pay money. You will have to pay $20 for Stell. And some people are understandably not very happy about that because in many cases people have been saving their gems in order to get Stell and unlock the new content coming up. Fair enough. Now, there are further changes at play, and again, I'm kind of doing my best to kind of understand them and relay them in a format that is somewhat concise here. So the game going forward is not going to have like the paid skips in the battle pass. It's not going to have those like card packs that are like at like level 15 and level 30, and like some people get them immediately because they have unlimited gems like myself, and some people have to grind it out. So it's like new season, new items, but then for a lot of people they don't actually experience those items until like 2 weeks later when they're like super nerfed already, and you're kind of behind the information curve because everyone else already knows how to play with them and you don't know how to play with them. So that experience is kind of gone. Okay, basically, whenever there's a new season, they're still going to have item packs, but the item packs get instantly unlocked for everyone. Okay, so that is a really major deal, I think, because when you really enjoy these games is when it's fresh, and now everybody is going to have peak enjoyment from fresh content. All right, so how does this change work? Okay, so first off, there are going to be players that are going to benefit massively from this, like players who haven't played all that much and haven't unlocked too many heroes, like my wife Rania. She played a little bit, she unlocked Pygmalion, and that's pretty much it. But she created her account when the Bazaar was first playable. She got like a founder pack or whatever. So she will basically win out. She's going to get Dually for free. She's going to get Mac for free. And she's not going to have to play like crazy to unlock the new item packs in the future. So a big win. And honestly, I think most people who play the Bazaar are probably going to win out from these monetization changes. Okay, so there's that group of people. There is the other group of people that you basically have all the stuff unlocked and you don't really pay money, and eventually you might like unlock some stuff, but because you don't pay money, you're probably a bit slow to unlock the items. So it's going to suck that you have to pay money to unlock the new heroes, but those players who are probably not spending anyway are actually going to get the new item packs immediately when they come out. So it's like a win some, lose some. So there's that group of players. And then there is the third group of players that are basically Giga Chads, absolute farming wins like crazy in ranked mode. Probably high win rates like myself. You basically have infinite gems. You can play the game for free forever, and you can speed run all the content, unlock all the heroes easily through gems. So those people are going to get a little bit screwed, for sure. Okay, those guys are getting wrecked a little bit from this change. Now, one thing that is very important is people that want to play the game on Steam, but they had an account before, will not be able to do so. If you want to play the game on Steam and you already have had a Tempo account and you play through the client and you've unlocked a whole bunch of stuff, you do have to pay the $45 is my understanding. I think they said something like it's a challenge for them to give out that many keys so people can get access for Steam. Now, this doesn't sound very fair, and I agree it doesn't sound very fair, but this is actually the industry standard. Like, I was playing Diablo 4 on Battle.net, having already bought the game, and then it came out on Steam, and I'm like, hey, I just play on Steam. No, it doesn't work that way. So I had to pay like $100 Canadian to play the game I already have on Steam. And then the only reason I did that is to play it on my Steam Deck. And then I realized the game is absolute ass on Steam Deck because you have to highlight individual items and drop individual items with like the joysticks. It's pretty much unplayable. Hopefully they've fixed that since that time, but that's how it launched, and it was super disappointing. But honestly, I was reading through Reddit and I was reading through the comments, and like people kind of expected this to happen. People kind of expected that if you play it on Steam, you have to buy the game again. Again, I don't agree with that, but it seems like this is what companies do when they put their games on Steam. I don't know. I wish we lived in a better world, I suppose, is what I mean to say. So how do people fare if they get the game on Steam? So people on Steam are going to be a little bit different than the people that play like a free-to-play game like the Bazaar to begin with. They are going to value the game and how polished it is, how fun it is, and how many hours they spend in the game. So if they buy a game for like $45 like the Bazaar, if they get like a few hundred hours of entertainment, the typical Steam Andy will be like, yes, that was a good game. I enjoyed my purchase. Again, some people are going to find that crazy, but yeah, there's like the free-to-play gamer category. There's like the Steam gamer that seems to behave the way that I'm describing. And then there's like the Diablo Immortal player where they're happy they spent $50,000 to get like these wings that do nothing while they can't lose to anyone who spent less money. Okay, we're not even talking about those guys. It's going to be a different video maybe in the future, okay? But those are basically the three categories of gamers. So I actually think that even though it seems crazy to pay $45 for a game that was previously free, I actually think that the typical Steam gamer will find the Bazaar as a good value buy. Okay, that is an assumption. Who knows if that is actually going to be the case. Now, one comment that I saw a couple of times that is a very interesting one is, so the Bazaar has changed its monetization model arguably 3 times, but at least 2 times now, right? And it's one of those things where, well, if they were doing super fantastic, amazing on making money with their monetization system, they probably wouldn't change it, right? So it's probably pretty fair to assume that the Bazaar is not making a ton of money, right? At least in their previous monetization, so they're just trying something new. Honestly, it could very well be that. but I do want to talk about a different factor that I think people are actually not aware of, and it is one that I have a little bit more insight being a content creator. So currently, because the Bazaar is only on its own platform, it doesn't have like a publisher, it is not on Steam, it is not on Epic Games, it is pretty much its own thing. Apparently, if you do this, you get screwed on the internet for discoverability. I don't know why it works this way, but it seems to work this way. It actually significantly affects my YouTube videos. While I can, make a playlist and make the Bazaar playlist, and I can put keyword tags in my video and my titles, so it kind of refers to other videos, the Bazaar is currently still not a game in a category on YouTube. And just to be clear, I have played indie games that have like 10 people playing it that have come out like a week ago that are actually indexed on YouTube. And this is really important because it basically recognizes it and puts it in the search algorithm. So someone who's into like card games or strategy games, they will be recommended the odd Bazaar video because the Bazaar is a video game that has these things. Well, actually, that doesn't happen because the Bazaar as a game is not recognized on YouTube. When I upload a video that has Bazaar content in it, you will not be recommended many, or in some cases, any Bazaar videos on the recommended videos. And you can check that if you log out of YouTube or you do an incognito tab. You will see very few or zero other content creators. The very few that you might see pretty much have absolutely identical tags, and it's only showing the odd video because YouTube doesn't know what else this content means. It's gotten so bad that over a dozen of my videos were not only not categorized under a game, because the Bazaar is not a game, it's not a category on YouTube, they are actually being automatically categorized as World of Warcraft. And I actually contacted YouTube about this, and they said they would fix it. They said it's a bug. They have actually fixed it for most of the videos that I've seen this. But just to give you guys just how brutally bad searchability and kind of the natural growth of a video game is on YouTube, when YouTube does not think the Bazaar is a game. Okay, so I don't know how much that has affected my YouTube content, but I would assume it has heavily affected my YouTube content, and it has heavily affected the discoverability of the Bazaar as a game. Now, you might be thinking, well, people stream the game on Twitch. That's true, they do. Twitch discoverability is pretty much ass. It's nothing. Unless a game is like the top 5 played games for like a week on Twitch, it really doesn't go very far. Twitch discoverability has always been actually its worst feature, and even though they've tried to improve it, it has not improved whatsoever. And just to give you guys a little bit more information on how this extends, how far this extends, overall, the internet doesn't recognize Bazaar as a game. Okay, there is no Wikipedia on the Bazaar as a game. It doesn't exist. Okay, now if someone makes a game on Steam, it kind of gets auto-generated. And actually, that's how it works on YouTube. You might be thinking, how does YouTube not have a gaming category for the Bazaar? It's because this is just AI stuff now. It's automatically generated. I've talked to someone at YouTube, and they told me this. They told me they cannot pencil in a category. They have a system, and the system either recognizes categories for what they are, or it doesn't. So going to Steam, it sounds absolutely stupid, but going to Steam for the Bazaar actually means that it will be properly categorized for the internet for the natural growth of a game, which is currently not happening whatsoever. So I don't know how much of an impact and how much this actually affects their decisions to move on to Steam. They might be doing okay with their monetization models, but they can see that their growth is not really happening because of these major disadvantages. Also, it's not like they've made another game before. They're probably navigating this new space the best they can. So I do give them a little bit of slack for that because, yeah, when it comes to monetization, if you change the monetization several times, people are just not going to be happy. Okay, some people typically get screwed when they change monetization. Even though the majority might win out, the some people are going to be very unhappy. And if you change it again and again, the number of people, that group grows bigger. So overall, that kind of sucks. We'll have to see how it works in the future. Overall, for the Bazaar, I am optimistic. I think their move to go to Steam is going to end up with the game being more popular. But yeah, obviously, not everyone is going to think that. And obviously, some people are going to be really upset because they are in the category of Bazaar players that either don't want to deal with so much monetization change, or they are actually getting screwed by the changes to the system. So overall, it kind of sucks, but at the end of the day, I think the Bazaar is a really good game, and I hope that the people who generally only play games that are on Steam will see it as that, and hopefully the game will do well, because, well, I plan to keep playing it for a while. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and it's been informative, and we'll see you guys in the next.